ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्दा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थे सुभिज्यस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदायादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजता दधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहैतुकी। Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 32, verse number 17. In the previous verse, the gopis asked Krishna about his stand in relationship with them भजतो भजन्ति एक एतदुपरियं नवोभयांश्च भजन्ति एक एतन्नो ब्रूहि साधु भव. So they gave 3 vikalpas, 3 options to him and asked which one do you belong to. And there are one category of people who reciprocate the love of others. There are others who love without any reciprocation also. And then there are others who do not love anybody. So which one do you belong to? So Sri Krishna starts replying in this verse till the end of this chapter. So in 6 verses he gives his reply, which is very interesting to understand his psychology. He has his own psychology. It's beyond any other psychology. So Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, Sri Bhagavan said, Mitho bhajanti ye sakhyah swarthe kanto uddama hite na tatra sauhridam dharmah swarthartham tadhinanyatha. So first he is calling them as sakhya, that my dear friends, because they only called him Bho. They did not call him Priya or anything like that, Prestha, but like very straightforward, Mr. Tell us this. So he is being very loving to them. He says, my dear friends, Mitho bhajanti tehi swartha ekanto udyama. That ye mitho bhajanti, those who reciprocate mutually, that you love me, I love you, you don't love me, I don't love you, you hate me, I hate you. So this is called tit for tat. So this is Newton's 3rd law. Action, reaction, simple. So, but he says that these people, their only goal is their own selfishness. Swartha ekanta. Their only ultimate end is their own happiness, their own pleasure, and that's what they do, their udyama, their effort, their endeavor, which here means their love or their welfare. It is rooted in selfishness. Means they need something, so they do something to you, because people understand that nothing comes free, and they say there is no free lunch. So therefore, if I want some benefit from you, then I do something to you so that I can get. So this is the most common. This is what is called business deal. This is what Prahlad Maharaj told to Nrsimhadev. And he says that you take some boon from me. And he says no. He says that will be business if I take a boon from you. I'm not doing bhakti for that purpose. So he refused, because he is not a Sakami Bhakta. So this is how the Sakami people act. And this is very deep in human psyche. So one has to therefore analyze oneself very minutely, because the very definition of bhakti given by Sri Rupa Goswami is anyabhilashita shunyam, that there should be no trace of any desire. In fact, there should be no seed of desire, not trace of desire, because sometimes you can be desireless, but there are still seeds inside. There are samskaras hidden in the chitta. So they have to be searched. This is the whole process of sadhana. There are certain impurities which are very gross, which are visible to everybody, including ourselves. We know about them. So even to accept them is a little hard for people. That's why people always try to change others. All the time their focus is on the other. Even if you keep on telling them that forget about them, think of yourself, it doesn't work. Because it is very painful to oneself that to even to accept that there is something wrong with me. Because ahankara does not allow that. Ahankara, as you know, we studied this in Paramatma Sandarbha, how Jiva Goswami very beautifully explained that how it works. So the pure Atma has its own ahanta, and because that is very pure, the Atma does not have any impurities in it. Atma does not have kama, krodha, lobha, moha, all these things. It also doesn't have the other side, manjari bhav, this, that is also not there. And this side is also not there. Atma is just free from both sides. But it has its own sense of I. And then we have the material body which has its material I, which is a product of Prakriti. Prakriti, Mahatattva, then Ahankara comes according to Sankhya philosophy. So that ahanta of Atma and ahanta of the body become one. That is called superimposition, that is called adhyasa. That is called the Chit Jad Granthi, not between the Chit and Jada. So Chitta is the Chit or conscious is the Atma, and Jada is this Ahankara. So this Ahankara is then which gives you the sense of I in this body. Now because the pure I does not have any impurities, and now you are sitting on the top of this material I, so you still think I am pure. That's why it is most difficult to accept one's own impurities, one's own flaws, mistakes. It's very, very difficult because of that adhyas of the pure I.
I cannot hear.
So then people work for their own selfish ends. And what happened?
We cannot hear.
Naka, can you put the microphone a bit further up, closer to your throat?
Well, then this thing stuck and then it makes noise. So, where did you stop hearing? I don't know.
It's impossible to accept one's own fault.
Okay. That's why it stopped. Because I'm telling the harsh thing. So therefore Krishna says that people in general, of course he's not saying about anybody, he's saying that this is one category, this is the trick. That's why I said everything's said here so everybody can hear it and bypass if they like, if they don't attack Krishna, that his people in the material world. Because that is the meaning of Swartha. Swa here means the body. Otherwise there is nothing wrong in being Swartha. If Swa means the self, means the Atma, then there is nothing wrong. So, and beyond that, Swa is Krishna. He is our Swa, he is our self. Swa means that which is yours. So here swa refers to physical body, mind. So artha means for their sake. So we work for the sake of something which is actually not swa. It is only out of, or we are advised not to be selfish, because it is not truly being selfish, because the body, mind, they don't belong to us. But adhyas, the superimposition, is so deep and so intense that you can hear this 100 times, still it doesn't ring bell, it does not penetrate. Because for this to understand, for this to accept, the ahankara has to lose some value. Now he is sitting cozily. They are sitting on top of each other, whichever you say. There is adhyas of material ahankara onto the spiritual ahanta. There is adhyas or imposition of the spiritual on the material world. Both ways it works. There is a mutual superimposition. So that is the play which is going on. Like in the wrestling match, two wrestlers match, so sometimes one is on top of the other and sometimes the other one is on top of the other. So they change. So that is the wrestling going on between the material ahankara and the spiritual ahanta. So therefore this swartha is very difficult to figure out. What is swartha? What is actually selfishness and what is not? So this anything which is related to the selfishness of the body independent of the other one, that is actually not beneficial. So there are, in Ayurveda, they define this very nicely in the very beginning of Charak Samhita. When he is defining what is Ayu, he talks of two words. One is called Sukha, other is called Hita. So Sukha everybody knows. Sukha means that which feels good. Sushtu Kha. Kha means space, Kha means senses also. So means Su means nice, good. That gives a good feeling to your space in the heart, or space in the mind or your senses. That is called Sukha. Hita means which is actually beneficial to you. So generally we think that something which is pleasurable is beneficial to me. This is the mistake people make. Again, this is because of that imposition, because Atma does not have problems with it. So because of that it thinks that whatever is happiness is good. But it's not necessary. Because this happiness is now through the senses. Yehi sansparsja bhoga dukkhayone evate. It is the cause of suffering, as Sri Krishna says. But hita means that is which is ultimately beneficial. So therefore Krishna defines happiness also in three types. Abhyasadaram te atra dukhantam cha nigadchati. That which you actually attain by practice and which brings cessation to all suffering, that is the sukha in goodness. That comes by sadhana, that is not coming from external world. That is not coming from the senses. Antasthiti antarama tatha antar jyotirevacha. That comes from within. So that is what is actually really sukha and hita. And in the material world there are things which look pleasurable but they end up giving you, they are basically ahita, not beneficial ultimately. So there are things which are problematic in, they are not pleasurable, they are troublesome, but they are hita, they are beneficial. And there are things which are pleasurable and also beneficial. They are the best. And the second best is that they can be troublesome while doing them, but they bring ultimate good. And then there are things which are sukha but ahita. apatramaniya. They give you flickering pleasure, but the end result is suffering. That's what most of the material life is about. Those who are not following any yoga system, bhakti yoga, karma yoga, jnana yoga, that is their state. So all those ayogis, those are not yoga yukta. As Krishna says, yoga yukta bhavarjuna. Yukta iti uchyate yogi. So yukta, those who are not following any principle. Yukta also means proper, appropriate. Yukta also means joined, attached to the ultimate good, ultimate beneficial, ultimate reality. So those who are not like that, they are all ayukta, improper, inappropriate, or in the troublesome situation. That's what majority of the society at present is, in the name of freedom and material comfort. So that is their situation. And then the fourth one is the worst, where it is dukkha and ahita, that you suffer while it is happening and no end result is also not good. So that is the worst. So at least those who are swarthi, they belong to maybe the third one or the second. But he says that they are selfish. Na tatra sauhridam dharma swarthartham tadhi nanyata. So therefore Sri Krishna says that there is really no kind-heartedness in such relation. It may appear externally, but it is underneath, under the skin, it is all just selfishness, and people just tolerate it because they want to get something. Like these people, most of the time they work in a job, they tolerate it. They're not happy with it. They're not satisfied. That's why weekend is such a pleasure. If the job was really pleasurable, then they would not bother so much about the weekend. So why is weekend such a pleasure and everybody waits for it? Because 5 days is hell. And when the weekend comes, it's sort of, at least they think it is heaven, but when they come home, if they have a family, then it's a different story there also. So he says, na tatra sauhridam, there is no sauhrida, there is no goodness of the heart, there is no kindness of the heart. Means the beauty of the heart is not there. The beauty of speech may be there, beauty of external actions may be there, but the heart is selfish, which means very harsh and deceptive. So then all the time it's a game of deception. Who can take advantage of the other? And even if it is not very visible or very explicit, this is what actually is going on implicitly. Undercurrent. Undercurrent is no sauhridatva. And there is no dharma. So dharma here means morality, which means also that there is no real maintenance of the situation. Means sooner or later it will break down. It has to, because dharma is that dharnat dharmityau, dharma dharayate praja. That which upholds, that which maintains, that which sustains, that is called dharma. But here, because the whole idea is that how I can get benefit from you, so and you are doing the same thing to me, then that is not maintainable. Because sooner or later there is going to be imbalance. I will take more advantage of you, or you will take more advantage of me, and then there is going to be a clash in our swartha. So then problems will come. So therefore he says there is no dharma. Why? Swartha artha tadhi nanya. Because this whole udyama, this whole relation, or this whole so-called loving exchange is only for swartharth, for the purpose of swartha, for selfishness. Nanyatha, there is absolutely no other trace of anything else in it. So this is the first category, and this is, I think, the most prevalent category. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti says, Vidita abhipraya uttaramaha mithaiti. So Sri Krishna, he understood what is the intention of the gopis. They want to pin him down, and they don't want to tell him directly that how ungrateful you are. And they want that it comes out from his own mouth. And then they will say, see, we never thought you're like this, you're a good analyzer of your own self. Self-analysis. So he understood, and therefore he speaks. So mitha iti. Upkara pratyupkara pekshaya ye mitho bhajanti te swarthe drishta drishta sviya phalartham eva ekant udyamo yeshamte. So those who love each other or who do good to each other only for the reason upkar and pratyupkar. So upkar means welfare or doing good to others with the intention that you will do good to me. So you say happy birthday to me, then I say happy birthday to you. And then you say happy birthday to me, but I don't say to you, and then I say, oh, he didn't send me a card.
He forgot my birthday.
He even forgot my birthday. So then so much talk only on that. Because there is, when someone is giving you a card, there is some strings attached to it which are not visible. Invisible strings come with it. And you have to reciprocate with those strings. If you break the strings, then problem will come. So therefore he says, upkar and pratyupkar apekshya. There is an expectation. Whatever you do to someone else, then you are expecting something from that, some reciprocation. So he says those who deal like this mutually, mitho bhajanti, te swarthe. He says that is all swartha. And the swartha, he says, is of two types, drishta and adrishta. One is visible, other is invisible. So one is very clear. Like you go and you do job somewhere, in some company or office. So you are doing good to the company because every day you spend 8 hours there. So you know that you are going to get your paycheck. It is a drishta swartha. But then there is adrishta. Sometimes people just come to you, they bring some gift to you, and they say, oh, I just wanted to have your darshan. So there the swartha is not very visible. They are laying their ground. Right? There is nice stories in the Hitopadesh about these swartha things, like the traveler's golden bangle. So this traveler, this old tiger wants to do good to the traveler by donating a golden bangle to him. He says, because I have done a lot of violence in my life, I killed many cows, now I'm doing an atonement. So every morning I take dip in this lake and I give charity. So you please take. So this seems like he has nothing to gain from this traveler, but actually he wants his blood fresh and hot. So like that, especially here in Vrindavan, there are many ashrams. So many times people come and they become your disciple and they do service to you. And then one day they poison you. By that time they already got into the trust or they hold the position. It happens many times like that. So this is, this is, I'm not joking. They do, you cannot figure out. They may be serving you for 10 years. And it looks like this guy is very devoted, surrendered, right? Hota hai na? Sadhu. Then one day you find the sadhu is gone. And then this guy takes over. And nobody knows. They still don't doubt him. Or sometimes they take and run away. And then it becomes visible. So this is one way of adrishta. Other adrishta is that you do some yajna, some puja. So then you will get good karma. That is also called adrishta. Right? In Nyaya it is called adrishta. In Purvamamsa it is called apurva. So you think that I am worshipping Ganesh, I am worshipping Kali. So I will get some benefit. So bhajanti yatha devan devapi tathaivatam chayaiva karam sachiva sadho deenavatsala. So but devas actually cannot do much to you. They also give you as much as you give them. So one long ago I had one manager here. You were there at the time. And that guy who had a little limp in his leg. Forget his. What was it? Sulere. Yeah. So one day when sadhu was visiting him, he used to live in the room in which Pradeep is there now. Below? Okay, in the future Kamala's room, opposite Mallika's room. This was not ladies' department that time. Actually, there were no ladies there. So this sadhu, sannyasi, and then this Sulere, he called me, says, come, there is one great sadhu has come here. So I went to his room. So he was sitting like that. So when I went, I greeted him. So he just did his hand like this, and he gave me some sweet in my hand. And 100 rupees. So I said, oh, this is magic. So then the Sulere was praising him. He says, you call some foreigner. So then I started asking him that. He says, can you do it again? So he did it again. Then I saw the sweet was very old, It was not fresh. So I understood that there is some trick in it. So then he insisted that I call some foreigner, because he wanted to impress a foreigner. So I called Subal. Subal came, big guy, So he did this to him. So Subal was smart. He says, can you make $? And the beauty was that when he gave me this money, then he wanted it back. So then Subal left, then I asked him that how you do it, what is the trick? So he said, no, there is no trick, this is by puja of the Devi. I said, then why these sweets are old? So I said, so why don't you make a fresh note? I said, this looks very dirty, Make like a crisp one as if it's coming from the treasury. So he said, well, I can only give what I offer to the Devi, Which was also just a trick. But anyway, this is what the sloka says, that bhajanti he yatha deva, devapi tathaivatam. That what you give to these devas, they will give back to you, that's all. They cannot give you any more. Chayaiva karam sachiva. He says they are just like shadow, Shadow moves where you move. If you run, the shadow runs. If you stop, the shadow stops. So devas do not have the ability to give more than what you have offered to them. But sadhu deenavatsala, it is the sadhus who can actually bless. So this is what is the adrishta phal. This is what Krishna is also saying, that you do this yagyas and te deva bhavayantuva. Deva bhavatanena te deva bhavayantuva parasparam bhavayanta shreya paramavapsate. So if you do yagyas for devas, so then they will also give. But if you don't do, then you see the nature becomes imbalanced. It's not that in their house they have gotten, they keep on throwing it to you. They don't. So that's why Krishna says, evam pravartitam chakram nanu vartayati aghayurindriya rami mogham partha sajivati. He says, I have set up this system like that you give to them, they give to you. And this way the nature functions. But if they give to you and you keep it to yourself, then the flow stops. It's like the river is running and then the clouds come and the shower and it goes back. That is the flow. But if you stop this water, then problems come. So that is the adrishta. So sviya phalartha eva ekanta udyamo yeshante. So their udyama, their effort, their endeavor is only for achieving their own result and nothing else. He nishchitam, the word he in this sloka, swartha ekanta udyama he te, is to assert that this is very true. This for sure, there is no doubt. Swatmanam eva bhajanti nanyam. So therefore he says, swarthartham tadhi nanyatha. So basically, they are worshipping their own self and not anyone else. Even if they are going to temple, even if they are going to church or wherever, they are not going there for the sake of the God or whoever is there in the temple. Allah, Jehovah, Jesus. They are not going there for them. They are going for themselves to benefit. That's all. Ataste swarthpara. So therefore they are very, very selfish. What does it mean? Sopadhi pritimantah kamina eva. So they have priti, their love, so-called love is with upadhi, with condition. So what is the condition? That I love you so that I can benefit from you. And if I don't benefit from you, then I don't love you. Simple. So many times people go to temple and they pray and this and that. And when their wish is not fulfilled, then they stop going there. So then they don't. Then they see something else. They can even change their religion because this God is not helping, the other one is helping. They can drop. So because they are kami, they are full of desires or they are selfish. Basically they want to fulfill their desires, that's all. And for that they can love or they can hate. They can do anything. Tatra tesu sohridam prema nasti. So they do not have sohrida, which means the love. The love, the true love does not exist in them. It's not there. That's the truth. There's nothing. So only the word is there. It's like you have plastic flowers. So they look like flowers. They actually look, unless you really touch them and go near them. In fact, you can go near them, still they look real. You know? So they're fake, or the fake jewelry is there. So now they have fake diamond, fake pearls, everything. So it is there. This love is like that. It looks like love, but there is no even a little smell of love in it. It's completely pure, unmixed, and love. At least it's unmixed. In that sense, it is pure unlove. Only it has the label of love. The only love in it is the label, the word, I love you. That's all. It's only verbal, not from the heart. That's why it says Sahrida. So there are two types of love. One is called verbal love. Another is called heart love. That's why they make the heart in this love symbol for the heart. So now this is verbal love, but there is no essence there. So therefore it says Sohridam. The heart is not there. Dharma iti uttar shlokarth drishtya nirapavado dharmaschana. So there is no dharma in it, which means that there is no dharma which is without any expectation. Means even if they follow some moral principles or anything, that is also because they want something, some expectation. If you remove that conditioning, then they will not follow. So therefore people have occasions where they do things which they won't do any, or they drink, take drugs. So now that conditioning is removed, or that situation which was holding them or pressing them to follow, that is removed. So therefore there is no nirapavad, there is no flawless or pure or without any exception. Swatmartham iti pathe taditiyasya visheshnam etat. So there is another reading. Swatmartha tadhi nanyatha instead of tadhi swatmartha. So then it says it's just an adjective of that tat, which means the prema is for one's own self. So this was his reply for the first one, where he says bhajto anubhajanti eka. That what he is explaining. So obviously he says, don't think I am like that. Don't belong to this category. Then the second one, where they said that eka etad viparyayam. There is another one who loves unconditionally, means he is not swartha. So bhajanti abhajato ye vai karunaha pitarau yatha dharmo nirapavadotraya sohridam cha sumadhyamaha. So he says then there are a second category of people. They love even those who do not love them. So these are two categories within this class. Number one is the people who are called karuna, means they are very compassionate. So being compassionate, they do welfare without thinking of anything in return or expecting anything in return. And the second is pitarau, parents. Parents in the traditional sense, because these days parents are also sometimes the biggest exploiters. So these are the two examples of people. There are some rare people who are very compassionate on others, and they just do good. They sacrifice themselves, and that's their pleasure. And then parents take care of the children without any expectation. So dharmo nirapavado atra. So here in this relation there is flawless or pure dharma and sahridam, and then there is also kind-heartedness. So this person has got a good heart, compassionate heart, whether they are parents or... So first one is without any blood relationship. Second, that they do it because there is some relationship. So the first one obviously is even superior to the second, because he is not doing it. Parents do it to only their children, not to some other child. So the commentary by Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti. Dvitiya prashnasya uttaramaha. Sri Krishna replies to the second question. Abhajto ye bhajanti nirpeksham bhajanti ityartha. So abhajato bhajanti, those who love, who does not love them, means they love without any expectation. Te nissambandha sasambandha bhedat dvividha. So this category of people have got two further divisions. One, when there is a relationship, and first one, when there is no relationship, and second, when there is a relationship. So the relationships are also of two types. There is a blood relationship, and the other is relationship because of some other situation, as relationship through education, or relationship because we belong to same group, country, something like that. So karuna yatha pitarau yatha iti. So these are the two categories. The first one is without any relationship, the compassionate persons, and the second is the parents. Tatra karuna suddha bhaktaha teshu eva prahladadeshu nirupadhik karunasya uday darshanat. So now this is very interesting. He says the category of the first, those who are karuna, compassionate and kind, these are basically devotees like Prahlad. Means you will not find this in the non-devotees. Non-devotees, even if they are being compassionate, they are doing welfare, they have something. Even if they are nothing else, they want their name. They want to be praised. Because it is not possible for a conditioned being to rise above the conditioning. So if somebody is identifying with one's own body-mind complex, then body-mind complex is limited and conditioned, and this conditioning is going to condition anything, even if it is compassion. So it may not appear visible to people, but it is there. These are invisible expectations, and they come out under certain circumstances. But devotees are not like that, because devotees, they are not interested in that. They are free from all material desires. So that's why he says that they are Suddha Bhakta. Teshu eva, only they have Nirupadhi Karuna. Only they, because they are free from material conditioning. They are free from name and fame, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam, va jagdesh kame. They don't have any such wishes or desires, gross and subtle, nothing. So they can only do true welfare. Sadhavo dīna vatsala. So santaye bhi sachindanti. Only they can cut the knots of conditioning, because they are free from that. So the darshanat, drishtanta dvaividhyat, ubhayapi pratyupkara.
Sorry, we cannot hear again.
So what is the problem?
I don't know this.
Now you can hear?
Yes.
Okay. So he says, drishtanta dvaividhyat ubhe api pratyupkara anapekshinas tad dukh sukhabhyam dukh sukhvanto bhajanam pranante pi ne tejanti purve shrestha. So he says that out of these two examples, the first one is superior, although he says that both of them, they do welfare without any apeksha, without any expectation. Pratyupkara anapekshana. They are not expecting anything in return. And therefore, tad dukh sukhabhyam dukh sukhvantu. So they feel distress when they see the other person distressed. They are happy when they see the other person happy. and they do not give up their love even if they have to give up their life. Pranantepi. Yet out of these two, the first are better, and uttare avara, second, are inferior. Atra eshu ubheshu eva dharmo nirapavadaha phalakanksha rahityad. And in both of them, their dharma is nirapavada, it is without any conditioning, because they have no expectation of any fruit or result from this. Swahridam premam cha nirapavadam, and their love is also unconditional. So if they are performing some religious activity, some dharma, that is also not sakama, niskama, and their love is also niskama. So Sri Krishna, he addresses the gopis as Sumadhyama. So Sumadhyama means who have a beautiful waist. It can also mean the middle one, because there are three options. The first one is the selfish, the third one is indifferent, and the middle one is compassionate and loving. So by calling them Sumadhyama, it says that you are Sumadhyamas. So therefore it says Shleshena Sobhana Madhyama eva prashno yasamta. So it says that Sumadhyama is indicative here that your question is about the middle one out of the three. Vigita udaharanatvad adyanto prashno vigito. Because the examples of the other two, the first one and second, are despicable. So therefore those two questions are also despicable. The good question is, are you this one who loves unconditionally? Yadva shobhanam madhyamam utram yasu eva madhyamasya pratyuttrasya asya bhavatya eva udaharaniyam. Or the meaning of the word Sumadhyama here is that their middle answer is the best, which is applicable to them. Means they are Sumadhyama, indicating that the middle one is what is applicable to you, because you also have Sobhan heart. Not only your waist is beautiful, your heart is beautiful. And therefore my second reply is to you. Pratyuttrasya bhavatya udaharanani. You are the best example of the second question. So in these two slokas, he has spoken about the first two options which gopis raised, and in the third one he is going to speak about people who don't love anybody. So any questions on this? Clear? Who is Krishna Priya?
Babaji Maharaj, I was wondering that the selfish category you were talking about. So if one follows the path of bhakti and no love is manifesting despite following sadhana, is this the reason that one actually belongs to this category? Or if no bhakti is manifesting, is this only due to Vaishnava aparat, or?
That first of all, it depends what is one's intention, because people also do sakam bhakti. But if one is not doing sakam bhakti and still bhakti is not manifest, then one of the reason could be the offense, which Krishna will talk, or at least Vishwanath Chakravarti will talk later on in the verse number 20. So then they don't belong to this. If they are sakam bhaktas, then they belong to this. But niskam bhaktas do not belong to this category. Okay, Tanvi.
Can you please explain what does it mean that the superimposition is coming from both ways? Like, so far I think I can get an idea that I'm identified with the material self.
So both ways means that you are eternal, Atma is eternal, but then you have fear of death.
Yes.
So why do you have fear of death? Because body is temporary. That means you are imposing the characteristic of the body onto the Atma, that is going to the other side. And imposing the qualities of Atma, I am pure, I don't have any flaws. Therefore somebody says something to me, I get upset. Then you are imposing the quality of Atma onto the material side.
But the second example you gave, isn't that just a characteristic of the egos, thinking that I'm perfect?
Yeah,
of the material ego?
But from where is it coming? Now I'm going beyond that. You only heard that part.
Yeah.
But what is the cause of it?
Okay, so the cause is that then...
Imposition.
Okay,
yeah.
So the spiritual self does also not know itself, because they are like intervened.
Yeah, they're sticking to, like, glued together. And they have been glued anadi, so you cannot think that they are separate.
Hridaya Granthim. Hridaya Granthim.
Yeah.
And in that state they are both ignorant?
Both, there is no both, there is only one. If they were both, then problem will be solved. They don't think that they are two, there is only one. We don't think that we are two.
So the spiritual self, which is the true one, is then ignorant in that state.
Of course, ajnanena avritam jnanam ten muhyanti jantava. That's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that it's in avidya. In Yoga Sutra also, avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha, panchaklesha.
Yeah. Okay.
You can read the question.
So Mohini would like to know, how do my subtle selfish intentions go away on the path of bhakti? My subtle and selfish expectations which are still there.
First part I could not hear, can you read?
How do my subtle selfish intentions go away on the path of bhakti? And this means my subtle and selfish expectations which are still there.
They're still there or they're going away? Why are you mixing two things together? These are two questions or one question? They go away means they will go away, but if they have not gone away, they are still there. That's what you're saying, why they're still there, means they have not gone away.
So I think the question is, how do they go away?
Yeah, so that's the simple question. Why are you putting the second part and confusing? The question is, how do they go away in bhakti? Simple. If they have not gone away, they're there. So they go away because you understand that you are not this body and you are not the mind, and these desires are cause of your suffering. Kama esha, krodha esha. Krishna says that kama, people only think kama simply means lust. Kama means desires. Material desires is kama. So they are rajogun samudbhava, mahasano mahapapma, vidyenam yavairanam. So once you understand that, then you don't want to have them. That's why bhakti means anyabhilashita sunyam. Abhilasha means kama. And you don't have any other kamas. So by understanding that this is not what I want, you give them up. it's you who desire, then you stop them. You understand with your buddhi, this is not good for me, so I don't do it. Desire may come in your mind, I should eat chocolate. Then you say, no, it's not good for me, so I don't eat. Then also bhakti gives you superior pleasure, because why you want to follow all these subtle desires, intentions? Because you think that they will give you pleasure. Because in the past they may have given you pleasure. But when you get pleasure of bhakti, which is superior, then you have no interest in them. So that is another reason that in bhakti you give them up or they go away. So first you have to do little intellectual exercise, and once you become advanced, then this is natural to give them up. You lose interest. Janayati asu vairagyam, you become detached by the power of bhakti. Bhakti is, as you know, is a combination of Ladini Shakti and Samvit. So it gives you pleasure and it gives you knowledge. So anybody who is having pleasure of bhakti and having knowledge of bhakti, why would he go after these inferior desires? It doesn't make sense. You don't have to even intellectually make such decisions, you lose interest in them. The renunciation happens naturally. So that's how bhakti works. Okay.